Greetings and welcome to another exciting edition of Poet to Poet. I'm Robert Dunn and I get the hostess extravaganza mainly because I pulled rank. And we're coming to you from the Crescent City Coffee House in Floral Park, and thanks to Pina and Rosie for letting us come in and monopolize the place and do whatever it is that we do. And what we do, of course, is poetry, the best you'll ever hear anywhere. And to prove it, we have Charlene Babb Knadle and Thomas M. Catterson, and they are going to rock on for us individually and maybe in pairs. We'll just have to see about that a little later. But we'll start with Charlene, and she's won poetry prizes in all kinds of places, like the Word Crafters Contest, Byline Magazine, Feelings Magazine. She's in the process of accumulating a doctorate at St. John's University, and she teaches at Suffolk Community College and does all kinds of things going on. Anyway, Charlene, welcome to Poet to Poet.
Thank you.
Would you care to craft a few words for us right here?
Oh, okay. Well, I'll read something that's pre-crafted, if that's all right.
I can dig it, yeah. That's
okay. This is called The Feather Effect. Cyrano was just a nose. He never got the girl, except for someone else. He had a feather in his cap and a long sword, that's all. Walt Disney's Dumbo couldn't fly without a feather in his trunk until the crisis of his life demanded that he try. When he succeeded and his eyes were opened, he could see it all. Dear Forrest Gump, whose simple mind allowed him Thoreau's ideal life, just simplify, followed the feather of his mom's advice all through his generation's history. Rather, it followed him, and with it came success that left the spirit uncorrupted, pleasing all. You think these figures fictional, unreal, and not to be believed? They're us, my friend. Don't we hold ourselves back because we fear and don't believe? Don't we rely on talisman, placebo, titration? We think the lucky ones only sail through life untouched by failure, injury, and shame. Wake up. Lay down your sword and fear. Embrace the love you've blinded yourself to. Accept the special miracle that's you. Look to yourself, your talents, and your gifts. Employ even your flaws as elements of strength to lift you higher than you've let yourself before rise up. The shortest path around a difficulty, after all, is through it. Courage and belief, desire, motives not corrupt, are what we need. That's all.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
It just goes to prove that while some people are into leather, Charlene is into feather here.
Very good. That's a poetic comment.
I would hope so. Well, it rhymes at least. Moving right along. Charlene, how did you get into the poetry racket and then start accumulating prizes and whatnot?
Well, I resisted poetry for a long time because my mother wrote poetry, and it seemed to me that was her thing. I wrote other things. But then when I started graduate school, I didn't have time for longer things, and every creative impulse that I had, which was shoved down, just grew and grew, but was compressed, so that I began writing poetry. And I find it very satisfying.
Some people resist poetry, some people resist arrest. Is that not so, Thomas?
Absolutely. It's either that or we go to sleep.
Okay. Well, nobody's going to sleep around here because Charlene's going to do another poem.
Okay. This is about someone who is just emerging. This is written in the voice of someone who has emerged from a struggle with another person, and this could apply to just any two people in a struggle. Particularly where one is so full of fear of inadequacy that he or she tries to compensate by dominating someone else. And I call it awakening. You lost because you won. I'd never planned to win, hadn't wanted dominance, only balance. You too, you said, fooling both of us. The struggle, when it came, was long because it was unrecognized. We had no inkling what it meant. You might have learned grace, achieving peace, humility, achieving harmony, openness, allowing us to talk, receptivity, becoming enriched, But these were not for you. For you, bent the way you were, only one way counted, yours. Your yardstick measured space. Do I have enough? Consideration. Is it forthcoming? Not am I giving any. Influence. Is my opinion paramount? And mostly, dominance. Does my way prevail? Afraid of being swallowed up, you swallowed me. Wary of participation, you insisted on partnership, me the junior. Divorcing my interests, you lured me, bound me to yours. Not until near drowning did I recognize my loss of self. Not till well out to sea did you consider victory might not be sweet. I set about retrieving self. You railed at me, roped, reeled me in. I slipped the net. Sad-faced now, we troll the waters, calling back and forth occasionally, casting glances, riding out the never-ending storm under heavy skies. For such as we, the lifting clouds are pure, and pure bright light might blind, and too much joy might kill.
Yeah. All right.
Gee, you're getting Thomas all excited over there. That's good, because if he's excited, then the audience is excited too.
Oh, okay.
Which would make this a memorable show indeed. Now, when you teach at Suffolk Community College,
Yes.
Which is way out on Long Island,
Oh, okay.
and I gather you're teaching writing courses.
Yes, primarily writing courses.
What do you try to impart to your students?
A sense of how to find a life. I really think that that's what people are looking for when they educate themselves, is not just occupation and not just enrichment of knowledge, but also some sense of how to navigate through life. And I think literature is helpful with that. And I have a cute little technique which my students find at first confusing, and then they relate very well to it, which is that every day I go in and write on the board a quote, which is meant to be life-enhancing, and I never do anything with it. And finally someone will ask me, what's that for? And I say, it has nothing to do with the class, it's a free gift. And that's all it is.
Yes, and economical too. And 4 quotes make a gallon.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nice, Robert.
Actually, it's Chico Marx.
I like
but
puns too, I have to admit it.
But let that go by. And do you have a poem in there
Oh,
that exemplifies all this?
Oh, I wish I did, but let me pull out something which isn't based on a quote, but is just right on top here. How's that for a reason to read? It's based on the idea that at our very centers we are all related in some mystical but very real way. And it's called Nursing Home Plea. Give us this day our daily banana. And forgive us our crotchety moods, as we have good reason to have them. Afford us our daydreams of yesterday, along with our focus on today. Respect our frail bodies, as you desire yours to be respected in the future. Speak to us always with an expectation of our understanding, with willingness to repeat, knowing our lucidity is not constant, but is keen when it's there. Treat us as grandparents, as mentors, as children, as colleagues alike, knowing we've reached an age that is timeless, that simultaneously encompasses all. Regret us not when we leave you, but be glad of your fairness with us, for we may one day be your welcoming committee. We may even be yourselves.
Yeah.
Speaking of daily bananas, that one really stood out from the bunch.
Well, I'm glad to
Can you-
see a teacher that doesn't like apples.
Who says I don't like apples? I love them, actually.
Now we're gonna get letters from all the Apple fans out in the out in the audience. What was your favorite quote of these freebies that you were giving the students?
Well, let's see. Let me see if I can call one to mind. one from Virginia Waters, who I believe is a psychologist of the rational emotive stripe, who said, it would be nice if everybody liked me and gave me their approval, but I can be happy even if they don't. It's a misquote, really, but it's in the right vein.
A paraphrase, we call it in the trade.
Is guiding through, I don't go for the clever, even though I enjoy them for myself, the clever irony or sarcastic remark, but just something that gives a little guide for living comfortably.
Actually, that was a very nice little paraphrase, because nobody is more aware of I am of the danger of mixing psychiatrists with poets.
Oh, well, a lot of us like to do amateur practice, and I try to avoid that when I can.
It's like mixing nitro and glycerin, believe me. How about another poem?
Okay. You know that we're coming up on an anniversary in a couple of years.
Are we?
Yes, because Wordsworth and Coleridge wrote their lyrical ballads in 1798. So we're almost 200 years from that. And I wrote this poem as a response to Wordsworth's poem Daffodils, or some people title it I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud. And this is an answer to it, written from the perspective of someone who lives 100 years from now, which would make it 300 years from that date.
They probably will never have seen a daffodil at that point.
So in another 100 years, somebody might want to read it again. It's called To Wordsworth. All right for you to be so free to find abandoned fields of flowers while wandering o'er the earth with glee, then recollecting them for hours. That luxury cannot be mine. Those days on earth are far behind. It was your generation, sir, that first began the long decline, which, falling short of killing her, debauched the earth for me and mine. Your railroads, factories, tools, machines, plundered and spoiled to ruin my dreams. In pain I read you now to see the grandeur that's forever gone. What planet this could be to me if centuries had not gone wrong. Your voice was not enough to sway the generations led astray. By 2098, this year, zoo animals are all we've saved. Oceans are full. Space, too, I fear. Forests are gone. The earth is paved. Unlike your dancing, tranquil heart, imagination's all I've got.
With that in mind, I'm going home and write a poem from the viewpoint of the daffodils themselves.
I would love to see
that. With any
that.
luck at all, there'll be a few left in 2098. Well, Charlene Babb Knadle, I want to thank you for coming on Poet to Poet, and we'll be back in a moment with the illustrious Thomas M. Catterson, so don't go away.
It's a pleasure.